Welcome back to the Steve XM Show, guys. On today's episode, we're doing more Blender. So, for those that don't know what Blender is, you're about to find out. You're about to get schooled. This is a 3D modeling program, animation type stuff. Think Pixar. Think the type of programs that people use to make character models for video games. All that kind of stuff. So we're learning it live thanks to Grant Abbott.
No problem.
Check out his YouTube page, links in the description. Free tutorials show you how to use this program from scratch. We're only on episode 5 of the beginner tutorial. So literally, if you know zero about the program, which I didn't know anything about the program, we started from episode 1. Now we're on episode 5. Let's continue. So let's get into this sucker. And we're going to play his little video here. You know, I don't know if I can make that full screen anymore. Interesting.
I'm Grant Abbott, and in today's episode of the beginner's course, we'll be making the monster. You may have already had a go at this. You might want to try my methods just for practicing and learning some new techniques. Some people have mentioned that they couldn't see the monster particularly well, so here's a better render. So if you haven't had a chance already, have a look at this and think about how you might go about
we got voice commands as well now.
I'm now going to talk through how I made it, and I'm going to explain how to use the mirror modifier. So there's a couple of ways to go about making this monster, and there's definitely some shortcuts. The way I've done it, if I select on my monster, I've done it as all one object, apart from the eyes at the front. Now that's probably an overly complicated way of doing it, and I'm going to show you what I think is the most easy way and efficient way. So I'll start a new scene, and I'll just explain how I made it. You can follow along if you like. Now remember, front view is the x-axis going across. And I'll just grab my box and move it in the x-axis over to one side. And that can be its feet. And I can duplicate this with Shift D and grab in the Z-axis. Just press Z once you press Shift D.
Horses, buddy. He's going so quick. All right, so we want the front view. We want to grab and in the X, move it over.
And then around there, scale it in. And that's its sort of forearm. So I can go along modeling like this, so Shift D, and then grab in the Z-axis. I rotate it around the X, and then scale it down, somewhere around there, and scale. If I press Z twice, it goes to its local axis. Because I've rotated it, let's look at the item menu over here. If these don't appear, then press N on your keyboard, and that will get these items up. And you can see it's got a rotation, therefore its local axis is still the Z-axis here. So this is kind of its upper arm. If I press G, then Y, it will move along that local axis. So double clicking the axis letter, G, X and X, will keep to the local axis. But if I just press G, then Y once, it will keep to the global coordinates, which you can see on your screen. You've also got this icon up here, which has global and local. Don't worry about the other ones at the moment. So I could just click on local, then I don't have to double click. I can press G, then Y. It keeps to its local coordinates. I'm going to switch this back to global now. Okay, now the problem with modeling like this is that I have to select all these and Shift D in the X-axis and duplicate them all across to the other side. It's not that slow, and it is a way of doing it, but there's a more efficient way of using a mirror modifier. So let's talk about the mirror modifier a touch. First of all, I'll create the body. So I'm going to press Shift A and create a new cube right in the center. Now that's important that I've added it in the center because its pivot point is right in the center of the grid. That will make more sense in a second. Let's scale it up and grab it in the Z-axis. Come around to the side and we'll rotate it in the X to somewhere around there. Now I'm going to take a moment to explain the mirror tool. So let's go into edit mode first. Tab into edit mode. And if I mirror this object now, it will mirror around the center point, or the pivot point as it's known, and it will create a whole new cube because we have a whole cube here. Now that's difficult to explain, but I'll go to the mirror modifier. So modifiers are under the spanner or the wrench if you're American. Click on add modifier, and we have a mirror modifier there. Now, as I've said, it's just created a whole new cube, because it's mirroring the whole thing along the x-axis. So if I press G now, that will grab all my vertices because I have vertices selected.
Ooh.
Pull them out and you can see that other cube, and it's being mirrored around
Mirror
the
on the
pivot
wall.
point in the middle. So what we actually want to do, we want to cut the cube in half so that we've got a mirrored half. So I'm going to do that over here. So Control R and double left click and cut it in half.
So now's a good time to show off the voice commands. So I developed these voice commands so you can kind of learn the key presses. I don't think these voice commands should be used as a replacement to the key presses. I think they should be used to complement the key presses and teach you the actual key presses. So I have the system set up so that we can say loop. Well, I don't remember what the command was. Oh, loop cut. Loop cut.
Control plus R.
That's Control plus R. Okay. We got to be in the edit mode. Interesting. Oh, we got to be in face mode maybe? Loop cut. Loop cut.
Control plus R.
All right, so there's your loop cut there. Now, the voice command has told me that it's Control plus R. I don't know if the voice thing's working. Let me just check my volume here. Let's see. Loop cut.
Control plus R.
Now, for those that do want to use voice commands only, you can turn the voice option off. Voice off.
Voice off.
So now I can say loop cut, and there it'll pop up. We don't have to hear it tell us the key press. But now that we know it's Control R, voice on.
Voice on.
We'll just use Control R. I'm trying to learn the key presses, so I'm kind of using this system to train me the key presses if I forget them. But yeah, we definitely want to learn what the key presses are. That's the faster way. All right, let's get back into it.
And I want to delete this side so that when they join back together, we can be modeling on one side and it will update on the other. So I'll go to face mode for this with 3 on my numpad, or you can select faces up here. Select these faces, move around a touch to get them all. Delete faces. Can you see how that updated on the other side? Now if I select all with A, it's only selecting one side because this is just a duplicate. Let's grab that in the x-axis and pull them together. And I want it somewhere around there, but can you notice how they're overlapping each other? I don't want that to happen. I want them to actually sort of stick together or clip together. So there's clipping over here. And now when I press G then X, it squeezes together. And then if I left click now and press G to grab in the X, they actually stay together. I'm going to do that once more.
That's so cool.
It can get confusing, the mirror modifier. So G to grab, and then they clip together, but I'm pulling it away again. It doesn't stick until I squeeze them together and then left click. And now when I grab again, they are stuck together. Okay, so that's nice. We've got a mirror modifier on, and I can then edit this shape if I want. Let's say add a loop cut. So just there with Control R for loop cut, or you can use the tool over here. Control R, and then I can move it along with left click once I've left clicked, and then left click to assign it. Let's get this edge here. If I press...
Why am I not loop cutting? Let's try this. So Control R. Right click to get it back in the center. Let's see what he's doing.
G twice, double G, I can edge slide like this. So slide down that edge, and I can have a body like this. It's still very square and blocky, but that's kind of the fun of it. Now it's hugely wide at the moment, so I might need to bring these in. So let's come out of it.
So his legs are oriented a bit different than mine are. We screwed this up over here. We'll go back in object mode. Let's go to the front view. We want to duplicate this, move it in the Z, scale that sucker. Now there's a way to scale it in 2 dimensions. I forgot to do that. Shift X. Shift Y. Oh, Shift Y. So that excludes 1 dimension. I don't think we need that right now, though. So let's duplicate that. Shift D. Move it up. It's fine. Let's scale it in the Z. First we'll scale it in the X. Then we'll go to the side view. Scale it in the Y. Then we'll scale it in the Z. And then we'll do a slight rotate. I think he's rotating back, right? Yeah, okay. And then we'll grab it. We'll move it in the X a little bit. Or is that the Y? Y is green. We got to remember that. Okay. All right, so I think we got something closer now to what he's got. Let's scale it up a little bit, though. It looks a little small still. Let's go to the front view. All right, so this is what he's working with. And then what he did here, something with the loop cut up here. I don't think we got to that yet. Edit this. I think he grabbed the line back here. And he brought it down in the Z. Like that. So if you double tap Z, it goes based off of the object's own coordinate system, which is pretty cool. All right, let's see what he does.
Edit mode with tab, and think about these three objects. Now, I can, like I said, duplicate them across the other side, or we could use the mirror modifier. So let's select the top one first and try and mirror this. So under my modifiers with the spanner or wrench, go to add modifier, mirror. Okay, now why is it not appearing on the other side? Have a quick think. It's because my pivot point is in the center, so it's mirroring itself in the center. If I press G now, it's moving the pivot point because I'm in object mode, so I'll right click to cancel that. I need that pivot point in the center here, or if I go to front view with 1 on my numpad, anywhere down this line, and it will mirror across if I have the x-axis selected. So I've got to somehow move my pivot point to this line here. Well, my 3D cursor is in the middle at the moment, so if I were to tell my pivot point to move to my 3D cursor, that would mirror across to the other side. Let's quickly do that. So under object this time, there's set origin. And origin to 3D cursor will move it to the middle, and there I have my mirrored object on the other side. So let's do again with the other one. But this time my 3D cursor is not going to be in the middle, so shift right click to move my 3D cursor, and I want to move my pivot point into the center again. There's a simple way. Shift S brings up this nice menu here, and we have cursor to world origin. There's all sorts of other options as well, which can be really handy, but cursor to world origin is the most commonly used. And then we can go up to object, set origin, origin to 3D cursor. And then add our mirror modifier. So in the modifier panel, mirror, and there it is on the other side.
Boom.
So I'll quickly do the same for the last one. And there we go. Now if I want to update anything on this side, let's say go into edit mode and grab this face and pull it forward. So
All right, didn't work for this one, so what do we do wrong? We got the mirror modifier. The origin, though, is not there, so we gotta go to Object, Set Origin to 3D Cursor. Boom. Alright, cool.
It's got some weird looking feet. It copies it over to the other side. Now there's one other thing I want to mention. Let's go back into object mode, and there's Apply over here. If I press Apply, it now means that I can go into this object this side and just affect this half on its own, and it's not updating on the other side. So if at any point you want to apply your mirror and make changes to the other side of your object, then you can apply it over here. But I'll undo those steps. Generally, you might as well keep it on if it's a symmetrical object so that it always updates on the other side. So you don't need to click apply. So if I'm making the shoulder, for example, I can press Shift D now in object mode and bring this up to the top here. I've got my other half work.
So we still gotta rotate this around, though. We did this the wrong way, so grab this sucker. We'll rotate it in the Z by 90. Oh, it's going about the origin. So we'll hit double Z to rotate it about itself. Right? Interesting. Rotate Z, Z. I want it to rotate about itself, but I might not be able to. Alright, let's just rotate the body, then that'll be easier. Rotate Z, Z. Can I just type in 180? Oh, you can. Alright, Doesn't seem right though. Something's wrong. Let's rotate it about the X. Yeah, that's the front of them. Let's undo some of that stuff. Trying to think how this is supposed to look. The arms come down that way, kind of close to there. Opposite. So I kind of want to flip this. I think that's what we want, right? No? Yeah, I think that's what we want. Let's go 180. And we'll grab these. Yeah, that's better. Okay. All right, continue, Grant Abbott. Thank you for the help.
As well. And now you can see there's some sort of issue. It's moved across to the other side. So have a think why that's happening.
Let's back this up a little bit. Hold on.
It's a symmetrical object so that it always updates on the other side. So you don't need to click apply. So if I'm making the shoulder, for example, I can press Shift D now in object mode and bring this up to the top here. I've got my other half working as well. And now you can see there's some sort of issue. It's moved across to the other side. So have a think why that's happening. Let's go to front view. That might give you a hint. Can you see my pivot point is now off center? It's because I grabbed it in object mode. So to put it back, I can easily undo, or I can get the location of the X just here and change that to 0. Now I know that the pivot point is right in the center along the X axis. What I need to do, if I don't want to move the pivot point, is go into edit mode and select all my mesh and grab it and move it around. Select all my mesh with A and grab it and move it around. So then it keeps its mirror and it keeps its symmetry. Let's scale that up a bit, somewhere around there. Do a loop cut in the middle here, Control R, and I've got my loop cut tool. Left click and left click again to set.
All right, so we're gonna scale this sucker up. Let's go to the front view. Control 1 maybe. So it's scaling about that point. I don't know how I feel about that. I can change that, I think. Go up here and change to local. Go back to object mode actually. Scale. See, it's scaling about that. I don't know why it's doing that. Shouldn't matter though, we should be able to still move it. Something weird's going on.
Press Shift D now in object
Let's go back to object mode. Let's go back a couple steps and see what we did wrong.
mode and bring this up to the top here. I've got my other half working as well. And now you can see there's some sort of issue. It's moved across to the other side. So have a think why that's happening. Let's go to front view. That might give you a hint. Can you see my pivot point is now off center? It's because I grabbed it in object mode. So to put it back, I can easily undo, or I can get the location of the X just here and change that to 0. Now I know that the pivot point is right in the center along the X axis. What I need to do, if I don't want to move the pivot point, is go into edit mode and select all my mesh and grab it and move it around. Select all my mesh with A and grab it and move it around. So then it keeps its mirror and it keeps its symmetry. Let's scale that up a bit, somewhere around there. Do a loop cut in the middle here, Control R, and I've got my loop cut tool. Left click and left click again to set it, and then I can move this edge because I'm in edge mode.
Something's not right with what I'm doing. Hey, what's up,
and then I've got
Tiger?
shoulder.
FTU
Now I
coming at us from
rotated
Mixer.
mine, so select all with A. So I'm selecting all the edges.
Yeah, I
into
don't know
side
what I'm
view.
doing wrong here. Something's not mirroring properly around this. It's interesting. Let's undo some stuff. So he told me to grab it in object mode, which I did. Now, there should be a mirror modifier on here. I don't see one. Alright, maybe that's why. Although it is mirroring. Good to see another Blender user. Oh, Trigger. Trigger, yes, yes, yes. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, no, this is very, very early on. I'm very new to Blender, so welcome. Thanks for checking out the channel. Hopefully by the end of this, we'll be making some cool stuff. I'll go to what the final product looks like. So I don't know if you've seen Grant stuff at all yet, but
learning some new techniques. Some people have mentioned that
yeah, this is what we're going to be making at the end here.
May have already had a go at
About
this.
an hour
You
from
might
now, we'll
want to
probably be there.
try my
We got to finish the
methods
monster,
just for practicing,
and then we're going to
learning
be
some new
adding in
techniques.
some atmospheric effects. Add one and add an empty so that it has a center to work off of the main object. Add one and add an empty so that it has a center to work off the main object. Yeah, I mean, you think you'd be able to duplicate this though, you know? I mean, this... Oh, it's not really mirrored properly. Yeah, look at that. Maybe because I gotta be in edit mode. Let's try going in edit mode. Then grabbing. Not mirroring. Yeah, let's add some mirrors to this stuff. Add a mirror modifier. There we go. Okay. Alright, so now it has the mirror modifier. That's cool. Now we should be able to duplicate it. Boom. I used a tutorial to make a scene with procedurally generated scene, then animated it. Nice. Yeah, there's so much stuff, so much cool stuff you can do in Blender.
Apply over here. If I press apply, it now means that I can get, then you can apply. You might as well apply. To the top here, I've got my other half working as well. And then scale it down.
Oh, wrong button.
Move the pivot point. So if you're making just here, and now you can see it's a symmetrical object so that it always updates on the other side. So you don't need to click apply. So if I'm making the shoulder, for example, I can press Shift D now in object mode and bring this up to the top here. I've got my other half working as well. And now you can see there's some sort of issue. It's moved across to the other side.
I screwed something up.
So have a think why that's happening. Let's go to front view. That might give you a hint. Can you see my pivot point is now off center? It's because I grabbed it in object mode. So to put it back, I can easily undo, or
Would you
I
like
can
to see a
get the location
screenshot?
of-
Yeah, throw a screenshot on there. Here, let me post the post Discord link. I'm putting the Discord link in the chat now. That's probably the best place for me to be able to see it quickly. Throw that in my Discord if you would. I'll check it out. Oh, you already got an app. Let's see. Oh wow, holy crap. So Trigger FTU in chat made this thing. This looks sweet. What does this remind me of? This reminds me of like Mirror's Edge meets, I don't know, some kind of futuristic VR thing. Really cool. What's going on with the guy's face there? Is that just kind of some effects there? All of it was Blender. Yeah, I like the character model there. Little jeans, a little pocket there. High detail. Look at that lighting. How long does that image take to render? I'm curious. And is that using a cycle? I'm very new to like the rendering systems there. Is that cycle or EV or whatever it is? Oh, welcome to the Discord, by the way. Alright, so what the hell was I doing? Control Z. Let's get out of that. Man, I'm screwing some stuff up. Oh, it's with Eevee, okay. Yeah, Eevee just seems better for some reason for the most part. Delete faces? I don't know. Let's go back to the front view. Yeah, something about this does not seem right. I screwed something up somewhere. I have a thread dripper, so the image took a few seconds. The animation was about 2 minutes. 1080p 60 frames per second. Does it actually show the guy running down the tunnel? That'd be pretty cool. I feel like I screwed something up back here. First of all, this should... Oh, you know what it was? Is because... Let's just undo some stuff. Let's undo as much as we can undo. It had to do with when I think I hit apply. Let's just delete this side here. Shit, we screwed everything up. Let me see if I can find the scene. Nice trigger foo. Alright, so I'm going to start from scratch with the feet. So we're going to go see if I can figure this out on my own. I can get rid of this thing there. So let's add a mesh for a cube. Adds it to the center. That's what we want. Let's bring it over in the X. Let's Shift D that sucker. Actually, no, let's turn the modifier for... Just call me trigger. Okay. Cool, trigger. Let's turn the mirror modifier on now. That'd be pretty cool. And let's set this object's origin to 3D cursor. So this should be good. Now when I shift duplicate, move it up in the Z, scale the sucker down. Whoa. Control Z. Grab Z. Nope. So it's scaling about that. I don't want that. Can I scale it about? Maybe I shouldn't have mirrored it yet then. Maybe you don't mirror until the end. All right, let's try that then. So Shift D, grab Z, scale. No, we don't want that either. Ah. All right, so let's move that up and let's scale it a little bit. Check out the side view. That looks cool. All right, then let's grab it. Oh no, let's duplicate it again. And the Z. Scale it. Now let's go to the side view here. Let's scale it in the Z only. Oh, why is it scaling it so slowly? There we go. Whatever. Back to front view. Looks good. Shift D. Grab Z. Scale. Scale it down in the Z. We want it to be more like a box now. Let's go to the side view. Scale it in the Y. Shoulder. All right, this looks pretty cool. Let's scale this back up though in the X. Like that. And we'll bring it down in the Z. Boom. All right, now we should apply our mirror effect. Of course, there is some kind of tilting going on with all this stuff too, so. I think he tilted the, possibly the arm and the shoulder. No, the arm's tilted, so we can grab both of these and we can rotate them a little bit like that. Whoa. All right, that should be good. Beautiful. Now we should be able to mirror this sucker. I don't like how it got tilted though there. Rotate this in the Y. See, why can't I see my edges, you know? You can't really see any edges here. Oh, that's why. All right, this looks good. So now let's try applying the mirror tool. So we're going to go here. We're going to go add modifier, mirror, object, set origin to 3D cursor, boom. But it's still... it's not mirroring it. Oh, because I got to grab it in edit mode, that's why. So we can grab all this stuff in edit mode, I think. If I select it all, edit mode. Why didn't it grab the middle one? I grabbed them all in object mode. Uploading it to YouTube, nice. Yeah, we'll check that out. I'll pop that on real quick. Just put the link in chat. Now it's interesting. You think I would just be able to switch over to edit mode, but all of a sudden it doesn't do anything. So I wonder if I can just... oh, there we go. Grab all. All right, that works. That did work. All right, let's get back to the tutorial. Let's see what this guy's talking about.
It's
Grant Abbott.
moving the pivot point because I'm in object mode. So I'll right click to cancel that. I need that pivot point in the center here. Or if I
Let's fast forward a bit. I think I figured it out.
That's object. It's because I move it around. So then it keeps its mirror and it keeps its symmetry. Let's scale that up a bit. Somewhere around there. Do a loop cut in the middle here. Control R. And I've got my loop cut tool. Left click and left click again to set it. And then I can move this edge because I'm in edge mode. G to grab along the x-axis. And then I've got a sort of shoulder. Now I rotated mine, so select all with A. So I'm selecting all the edges into side view with 3 on the numpad.
All right, so he's bringing this down. What did he do there?
And change that to 0. Now I know that the pivot point is right in the center along the x-axis. What I need to do, if I don't want to move the pivot point, is go into edit mode and select all my mesh and grab it and move it around. Select all my mesh with A and grab it and move it around. So then it keeps its mirror and it keeps its symmetry. Let's scale that up a bit. Somewhere around there. Do a loop cut in the middle here, Control R, and I've got my loop cut tool. Left click and left click again to set it. And then I can move this edge, because I'm in edge mode, G to grab along the x-axis, and then I've got a sort of shoulder.
Oh, okay, he
now
did it that way. Okay.
Mine, so select all with A, so I'm selecting all the edges into side view with 3 on the numpad. Can you see my edited shape is on the other side? You can press Control 3 to change the side that it goes to. So 3 is looking from the right-hand side.
Got some
Control
clipping
3 is
going on there.
left-hand side, and that helps in this case. So I've selected all with A, rotate, and there we've got some shoulders now. So hopefully from there you can see how you can build up a character.
The edit, what is he saying here? Trigger is saying in edit mode is more like faces and such. You should be able to have the mirror modifier and anchor it to another prism, not down. Yeah, I think what I just did worked. The only thing I don't like is how this clipped over here, this little part of the leg clipped over here. I don't know why. The other side didn't clip. Interesting. You think that would be mirrored, but we did something wrong. Prim is short for primitive. Oh, okay. Yeah, look at that. Something got screwed up. That's all right. This is not going to be perfect. This is our first attempt at this thing. I'm just going to slightly rotate this leg so it's not clipping. Let's rotate it about its own axis somehow. So if I hit rotate and then I hit Z, okay. Oh, look at that. That's better. All right, no, nothing's clipping now. That's good. Yeah, thanks for the help, Triggerfoo. It's nice to have Grant Abbott show me what to do, but it's also helpful to have someone in chat that knows Blender. I think you're the first person I've ever had in chat that actually
selector with the mirror modifier being used. Remember, if you're in object mode, you will move the pivot point. So if you're making any edits, like moving your shape, select all the vertices, faces or edges and move them around that way. Don't go back into object mode. You only need to go into object mode when you want to change to a different object.
So we want to stay in edit mode when we're moving shit.
You do actually have a function in 2.8, which is new, that you can select several objects and go into edit mode with those several objects.
Sure.
There's no particular reason to do that at the moment, but you could move a whole section at the same time. So if I press A now to select all, G in the X-axis, I can move these in together. And that's really handy. So selecting multiple objects in object mode, first of all, then go into edit mode and you can edit them at the same time. So your challenge now is to make that monster. If you've already made him without the mirror, then I suggest just having a quick go at making a few shapes with the mirror to understand how it works. So let's look back at mine. I think this is actually modelled in a slightly inefficient way because I linked all my objects together. So I actually, whilst I was in edit mode, I was adding new objects, so shift and add a cube, and then it's actually linked to the original object, as you can see here. And I think that's possibly an inefficient way to do it. And I think the way I just explained is probably a bit better. In terms of building up the legs, just have a reference image to think how a dog's legs go, if you want your monster to look like a dog, that is. And just a quick look at these different shapes around here. If I go into edit mode, you can see how they've been created.
Okay, so we got to finish the monster.
So let's go back into object mode. Lastly, there's the street.
All right, so he wants us to finish the monster on our own, which I think we should be able to handle. Let's get a good view of his monster. All right, so what we need to do is we need to do a loop cut. Let's go back to object mode, do edit mode with this. So we already got the loop cut here. He kind of raised these edges a bit. So we're going to grab these in the Z, raise them up a little bit, give them kind of a little, oh, not that much. Grab Z a little bit. Same thing with the shoulders. He did that. That's a nice little effect. We can go to object mode, edit mode. And grab these. Let's go to the front view. The other front view. I guess I don't like that either. Either way, we can grab this, move it up. I would move it up in its own Z position. Give it a little bit of definition there. I find it funny that he's inefficient to mirror and having anchored to an object. Yeah, see, I don't know the difference right now. To me, Grant Abbott seems like he knows everything. You know, I know so little about this program right now that I got a lot of faith in this guy.
That's possibly an inefficient way to do it. And I think the way I just explained is...
Alright, so let's try making the head. Let's add another block for the head. So let's go to front view. Whoa, what the heck was that? Is this my front view? Okay, yeah, that's the front view. Let's add a mesh cube. That's going to be the head. Scale it up a bit. Move it up in the Z. There's the head. Let's go to the side view. Let's scale that in the Y a little bit. Bit smaller. Scale it in the Z a bit. Alright, so here's our head. A little wide, so let's go to the front view. We'll scale this sucker in the X a bit. That should be good. Now he left his head kind of flat. It's fine. There is a bit of rotation to it though. So say you put an empty at 0, 0, 0, add a cube, then mirror and mirror object the empty. Everything you do to the one cube is mirrored on the opposite axis of the empty. Mirror and mirror object the empty. I'm not even sure what that means, to be honest. I think I'm doing this part at least right. I hope. Alright, let's scale this back. Basically, what we're doing is more efficient. Okay, good. Yeah, I think he said at one point that he knew it wasn't the most efficient way, but here's the top view. This is good because we can rotate it now in the X a little bit just to kind of give the head a little bit of tilt. Maybe not that much tilt, so let's rotate it back. All right, there's our face. Let's duplicate that face. Move it in the X, move it in the Y. Nope, move it in the, whoa. Grab. Yeah, so his snout sticks out a bit. Now we just gotta scale that sucker down. So what he did here was he added loop cuts, it looks like, to the center. This actually doesn't even look that bad right here. So let's grab this object. Let's go into edit mode. Oh, look at it, it's all one object right now. What the heck? How did that happen? I don't know. Anyways, let's add a loop cut. I got voice commands for this too. Loop cut.
Control plus R.
Looks good there. We can grab the edges over here. Something got screwed up somewhere. Look at that. It's like I have two objects here, you know? Like an object and an object. Very strange. You should be able to fix it anyways. Let's grab this, move it in the Z. Yeah, I don't really know what happened there, to be honest, but so far so good. Okay, this looks pretty cool. All right, we're almost done. Let's get our eyeballs in there. So I'm gonna add a new cube to this. New mesh cube. Let's go to the front view. Grab Z. Scale the sucker. I like how he made him wide, the eye, so we're gonna go with that style. Make him kind of wide eyes. Now this is not being mirrored. So what's interesting about this is we should be able to add modifier, mirror. It's going to mirror about the X, but we have to go to object, set origin about the 3D cursor. Boom. Now, side view is going to help us here. Grab in the Y. And we could rotate those eyeballs if we wanted to. Might want to do that. Rotate them about the Y, maybe? About the X. Oh, you know what? Edit mode. Edit mode is your best friend, guys. So click the eyeball, edit mode, then rotate with the side view. There we go. There we go. Everything is looking good. Last thing we need to do is come up with the dog legs. Before we get into the dog legs, let's let's move these arms so they're actually touching the body. Oh crap. Something got screwed up here. Big time. Using some kind of knife tool. What's going on? Oh, look at that. Screwed something up, man. How the hell do we fix that now? Guess we don't need to. That might still look kind of cool. Might be fun. Yeah, this might still be pretty cool. Just kind of give him like a little snout. I didn't mean to do that, but we could go into wireframe mode and we could probably combine some stuff. But since this is our first model, I'm not really too concerned about it. I'll just leave it as is. It actually looks pretty cool. All right, so now we just got to come up with the legs. Let's take a look at his legs. So let's go back to front view. Let's just duplicate this. Scale it down a bunch. Move it down in the Z. Scale this sucker in the X. Go to the side view. Move it in the Y. Yeah, that looks fine. Let's rotate a little bit though. Let's rotate it about its own axis in the Y. Rotate Y, Y. That's like scaling it. What the hell? All right, so we got rotate, is it X? There we go. All right, cool. Let's scale this in a bit. Scale it in the X direction a little bit more. There we go. All right, now we need to get the dog legs going. So dog legs are just basic cubes. So we'll go to the side view for those. We'll just add brand new cubes. Brand new cube. Bring it over in the Y. Scale it. Scale it in the Z. All right, his are kind of rotated. All right. That's funny though, this guy's kind of like above everything. Let's grab his whole body and just bring it up. You have like a kneecap? What does he got? Kev Fallen coming at us from Twitch. Welcome, welcome. Hopefully everything's going good with you tonight. Rotate this sucker. That's where we want it. Okay, I like that. Yeah, welcome to the channel, Kev. We're just learning some, learning modeling or Blender only. Yeah, pretty much just Blender right now. We're using Grant Abbott's tutorials on YouTube. They're free. I'll show you the beginning real quick for 10 seconds here. This is the scene that we're going to be making in the next 20 minutes. We're going to be finishing this up. I've already created the man. I've already created the man. We're finishing up the monster right now, and then he's going to teach us how to do the atmospheric lighting and fog effects. So in the next 10 or 20 minutes, you're going to see all that come to fruition. But right now, we're finishing up the monster model. I am modeling with Blender 2 since 1 year. Okay, so you've been doing it for about a year. Yeah, this is like day 4? What is this? I don't even remember. Day 3, I think. Grab this, move it in the Y. Grab Y. Boom. Shift duplicate. Move it in the Y. Let's rotate about the X. And let's scale that down. Grab Y. Grab Z. I don't really know how to finish the foot off. The foot's got to be wider than everything else, so go to the side view. Scale this in the Z. Its own Z. Grab it down. Scale this in the Y. Make it nice and wide. We probably should rotate this so it's level with the floor. And we can grab these two objects and we can move them up in the Z so he's actually hitting the floor. See how that looks. Doesn't look great. I gotta make this wider in the X. So let's scale this sucker in the X. Give him a back foot. That looks pretty cool. Looks pretty cool. So let's just click these 3 objects. Let's go to add modifier. We're going to add a mirror. Then we're going to go object, set origin to 3D cursor. And it only did it for the 1. Look at that. Interesting. All right. Why didn't it do it to all 3? Add modifier. Mirror. Object, set origin to 3D cursor. All right. Anyways, we'll just select them one by one. Object, set origin, 3D cursor. Not duplicating that one. Add modifier mirror. Okay, we're good. Here's our monster. Looks pretty damn good to me, I think. Now the only thing is I don't know how to add it to my other pre-existing scene that I have. That's going to be an issue. So let's hit play and see what Grant Abbott does here.
He's looking for the left-hand side.
I guess I could save this.
So I've selected
save this as monster to the
rotate,
desktop.
And there we've got some shoulders now. So hopefully from there you can see how you can build up a character with the mirror modifier being used. Remember, if you're in object mode, you will move the pivot point.
Be right back, folks. Gotta take a quick 10-second break. Don't go nowhere. We're gonna finish up these monster models in 1 second here. Hey, did you ever post that thing to the Discord, Trigger? Want to check out the animation? Yeah, feel free to share your stuff, Kev, if you've done anything with Blender and that. We can pop it open real quick. We had someone else in chat, Trigger. He made this sweet thing here. I'll let you take a look at this while I'm going to the bathroom real quick. He made this in Blender. I guess he's got an animation for it yet. Upload is taking forever. Oh, okay, no worries. What is he doing, though? Is he describe what he's doing in some text? Does he run down that hallway or something like that? And does a camera, like, follow him? I want to see what that freaking looks like. I'll be back in 1 minute, y'all. All right, that was good. That was good. Nice little bathroom break. All right, we got some folks on Discord here. YouTube. Is this uploaded? Ah, Trigger. Nice. Looks like it's on the Discord. Let's check it out, Trigger. Let's check it out. Let me get my Discord open here. Let's see what Trigger's making in Blender. Post Discord link.
Hey everyone, don't forget to join the Discord. The link's in chat.
Thanks, Simon.
You are welcome.
All right, yeah, so it looks like you guys already got in the Discord, so welcome, welcome. But, oh, Trigger's in general voice chat. Let's say hi to him.
Oh,
hello.
Hey, Stevie. Or Steve.
Hang on. Whoa, hold on a second. What the hell? Oh, it's because I don't have my application. Let me open up actual Discord. 1 second, there.
Am I too loud?
No, you're fine. Your voice sounds good.
Oh yeah, you got it set for push to
Can you
talk
hear-
that way.
Can you hear me yet? Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
I can hear you louder.
Can you hear me
there.
okay?
I hear you loud and clear.
Oh yeah.
I can hear you loud and clear, my friend.
Oh, nice little voice modifier there. How's it going? How's it going?
Not too bad.
We are live, by the way, just to let you know, just to warn you. We're live on
No problem.
Twitch, YouTube, Mixer, Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, all that crap.
No problem.
So yeah, how long have you been using Blender?
Since I was in high school, so about 12 years, give or take.
Wow. Okay, so you got definitely some chops in this stuff. Let me see that. You sent me a direct message, right? For the okay, here it is. All right, I'm gonna open it now. Let's take a look at it. Bring it up on the screen here. So this is Trigger. I just met today. Oh, look at this. Okay, he's running. Now, is that animation done? Obviously, that's not like motion captured or anything, right? You just made that animation up.
Yeah.
Looks pretty good though. So you probably only have to animate like the forward and backward of the legs like once, and then you just kind of loop it.
Yep.
Then you send him in like a direction, like an X direction, and then just looks like he's running. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get paid for this kind of stuff? Is this what you're doing for work, or?
Oh no.
No, just for fun.
Yeah, I do it as a hobby.
Yeah, same here. It's all, everything I do on YouTube or anything like that, just hobby stuff. Just checking out learning some new stuff, so. Have you heard of Grant Abbott at all? The guy that I'm using as tutorials?
Not really. Some of the tutorials that I've been going through are from Ducky 3D.
Hmm.
Some of the stuff he has is kind of interesting.
Donkey or Grant?
Ducky.
Okay. Yeah, I was watching some videos. Now that I've just joined the Blender community as like of a week or two ago, I'm starting to get all like the recommendations on YouTube now, and there's like all these cool things where you can like do scans of like a face. Like they have these add-ons where you can like do a face from like 3 different views, and then you can like pretty much instantly make it into like a 3D model that's like pretty accurate. It's pretty cool. turn your face into like a 3D model. All right, so I'm trying to finish up. What's that?
All the stuff when I was in college for visual and game programming. We used to use Maya and 3ds Max, but it's kind of costly to use that sort of software.
I mean, honestly, this software here seems like it's got everything you need.
Oh yeah, it's very, very competitive with Autodesk at the moment.
Really? Yeah, that's what I learned when I was going to school for engineering. We learned on Autodesk for all of our mechanical engineering, 3D modeling, and stuff like that. But it's been years since I've messed with that stuff.
Wasn't Blender one of the people that got the grant from Unreal? I think they did.
I mean, it's free too. It's like, I found Blender actually when I was starting like get into video editing. I looked up free video editing softwares, and this is actually one of like the best free video editing softwares out there. There's just so much more you can do with it. Yeah, I'm using
editing, there's a lot.
Yeah, I'm using Fusion 9 right now, Shotcut, and I'll probably start using Blender a bit more. Blender incorporates the audio as well, which I like. Some of the other video editing softwares, you kind of have to like merge the audio, which can be like a pain in the ass.
There's some newer open source video editing software, which is comparable to Sony Vegas Pro at the moment.
Are you exclusive to Blender, or do you model in other 3D programs as well?
Been using Blender most of the time, but for like video editing software, I used to use 3ds Max. No, backwards. I said that backwards. For video editing, I used to use Sony Vegas Pro, but now I got a Mac here that runs Final Cut Pro for that stuff. That's just having to pay monthly software or yearly software for new optimizations, and running a Threadripper CPU for encoding, rendering, and all that stuff is awesome, but there's that one problem of optimized software every freaking year.
Yeah, Blender 2.28? What are we using now?
2.83, I believe.
Oh, is it up to 2.3 now? I might not even have the most recent one.
Let me find out here. I got it open here. I'm seeing what he was doing and how he's showing you to do the mirror, and it's a little different.
Yeah, I mean, he's going basically like, if you follow the videos, it kind of makes sense, because he shows you like the
No way.
not optimal way to do it first, kind of. And then, you know, you kind of learn from that, like, okay, why is it good to do it the other way? So he's showing you the wrong way, I think, first, and then he kind of shows you the right way. So I could use your help here real quick, though. I have my, I don't know if you got my channel up right now? My stream?
2.81A. Yeah.
So I got my man here that I made the other day. Nice little model of a man. Now I want to add in that monster I just made. So can I import it if I save it as a separate Blender file? Is there an import?
Let me see here. There should be a way to export it as a Caladia or as other formats as well. And from there you can import it the exact same way. Default is the Caladia.dae. If you export the collection.
So I have to export my monster collection, or I can export this collection I have here. So export Caladia default. Okay, let's do that. So man.dae to the desktop. Cool. Alright, so I'll open up my monster now. There's the monster. Now I should be able to import the Caladia of the man. Boom, there he is. Okay, it worked. Beautiful. Beautiful. So now I just gotta make this scene finalized. I don't want to delete my camera yet. Yeah, this program's sweet though.
Yeah.
Loving it. What were you watching on, oh, it's Impact from Twitch as well. Welcome, Impact. Yeah, there's definitely a Blender like community. It's pretty cool. People checking this stuff out. Alright, we got the monster.
I have to find out. I got so many Discords here. It's ridiculous.
I love me some Discord. Alright, so we got the monster, we got the man. Now I just gotta color my monster. I want to go with a nice dark purple, I think. Go with the side view to grab him. Let's get the camera out of here. We don't want the camera. Yeah, welcome Impact. We're just learning Blender. Got a new person here. Trigger. Here's Trigger's most recent Blender render here. How long did that little 4-second render take? Not too long?
It took about 2 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad. I've had images take like 2 minutes. I was trying to use that cycles mode. It's kind of weird because I don't know how to use that yet, because sometimes I feel like the cycles mode looks worse than the Eevee. I think you gotta like adjust the settings or something.
The Eevee renderer is becoming more of a more optimized renderer now, because I don't know, there's just so much more to it than the original renderer. It can take on ray tracing, bloom effects a lot more better. It can, I don't know, it's like switching between Windows 95 to Windows 98.
Wow. So I want to add some effects to this monster here. Material properties, here we go. I want to make him a nice dark purple. Almost black, but closer to purple. And we will make sure the roughness is all the way up. Now I should be able to select the rest of these objects for him. Oh, let's name that. We're gonna call this monster material. Yeah, there's some pretty cool scenes that Grant Abbott's gonna show us how to make in the next couple tutorials. He's got like this sweet like underwater, well, it's above the water shack scene like on the ocean. Have you seen that one yet at all?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, let me show this off, because this is the first tutorial that I've seen of his that I actually thought this is what I was going to be doing first. But when I went to click on the tutorial, he was like, make sure you do the basics first to show you how to use the UI in that. But all right, let's go to his playlists.
Here.
Bring this up on the screen here.
Here, Blender Guru, Ducky, Surface Studio, GC Geek.
Yeah, take a look at this on my screen right now.
Grant Abbott, gotcha. Found him.
Yeah, look at this on my screen right now. This is what my goal is. You know, the next couple weeks I'll be making this, but the next scene that I'm going to be doing is a simple well. Teaches you how to make a basic well scene. But he's going to show us how to do all the different stuff with the water. There's animations in the background there. Some of the plants are moving slightly. The boat's rocking and the waves are moving. I watched a couple of clips of the videos to kind of learn what I'm going to do, but yeah, we're going to be making that. It's going to be pretty sweet looking. That thing's awesome looking. What's up, Fleeky Cafe? Let's see what he's saying here. I'm not exactly sure what you're doing, but if you're just importing Blender characters into Blender scenes, you can use append or link instead of import or export. Yeah, I don't know.
True.
Whatever I did here worked, so I'm fine with this for now, but that's probably like a faster way to do it maybe. But yeah, this worked here for now. So yeah, thanks Fleecy Cafe. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but all right, so let's try to make the rest of this monster. Let's select the material. There we go, monster. Should be able to select all these at once, you would think. But we'll do it one by one if we have to. Oh, that's a different color there.
That's right. You can append or link. Forgot about those.
So Trigger, what kind of games have you been playing recently? Are you a gamer too, or do you just mostly use PC stuff for modeling, artwork, stuff like that?
I've been playing a lot of Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch.
Ooh, so what is that? Sword and Shield, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's like a little bit. I used to be a big Pokemon fan. I think the one that I played the most officially is Fire Red. But
Classic.
Yep, but there's a lot of controversy in that community right now with like the whole Pokedex not being included. And then I guess there's even like hackers and modders that are like doing it themselves.
That's changing.
You think eventually they're going to get to the point where they add them all eventually?
They are with the new expansion packs.
So they're just going to keep expanding on Sword and Shield, or are they going to come out with another game after?
They have 2 expansion packs that are coming out this year. And one of them gives you all the legendaries ever made from Generation 1 through 7.
Wow.
And the other one gives you a complete 200 plus Pokedex with 2 new legendaries.
So it just gives you the Pokemon? That seems kind of cheap.
Not really just gives it to you. You got to catch them, of course.
Oh, okay.
And some are exclusive to certain versions.
Yeah, so my biggest turnoff when I had a Nintendo 3DS, my biggest turnoff for Pokemon was whatever the newest one was at the time, probably maybe the one before Sword and Shield.
X and Y.
Yeah, it was X and Y. It was just so easy. I was playing it, I'm just like, I was just hitting the A button the whole time. Like, there was no challenge whatsoever. Like, it was just, I'm sure once you get farther in the game, it gets complicated, but man, it was just a button mash. It was just... And I'm sure once you start playing online and stuff like that, it gets complicated, but so easy.
I never really got to playing through X or Y. Whenever I had the game, I probably got to the 3rd gym, and then my 3DX was stolen. Which pretty much all my progress is history.
Kev Fallen, yeah, thanks for the Witcher thumbnail. That's funny, right? Which one? Which Witcher thumbnail? Oh, you're looking at in the Discord. Yeah. Yep. I've been messing with Photoshop recently. Well, GIMP, I should say. Yep, there's The Witcher there. Yeah, The Witcher 3, that's a great game. I'm thinking about getting back into that one. On last night's stream, I was playing Knights of the Old Republic, the first one. But, I don't know. The game has aged a bit now. It's a bit slow-paced to play. I'll say that much. Alright, so let's finish the scene up here. We got the man and the monster. My man is scared because he sees the monster. And we need to make a nice little street now, too. So let's hit play on this video. Let's see what Grant Abbott's got to say here for a second. Kind of want to try to make this part without his instruction. Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to make the street here. So let me scale down my street here. We'll scale it into Y to make it a bit long. There we go. Now let's give this thing a color, so we'll give it some material here. Let's do
2 light sources and 2 cameras in there, by the way.
Yeah, let me get rid of at least one of the cameras for now. These light sources probably just gotta go at this point. What happens if you eliminate light sources? It's just a dark scene?
Fairly dark.
Oh, it's really dark, okay. That's alright, because we're going to be adding light sources here.
You can find out if you take a look at the rendered image.
Yeah, this is the rendered image here, so apparently there's some light sources from somewhere. I mean, they gotta, you know, you wouldn't want it to be all black, so.
Yeah.
Alright, so we'll get out of that rendered mode, though. We got the street here. Let's give it a nice street color. Let's go down to materials.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine. Sounded like some Japanese anime in the background or something.
My wife's speaking German to the dog.
Or that. Close to Japanese anime. That's how you're supposed to train German Shepherd. You're supposed to train him in German, you know?
Mm-hmm. It's easy for them to be able to decipher the different words.
Thanks for the follow, Vampiric Kai. Oh, Vampiric Kai changed his name that quick. Wow. He was Fleeky Cafe from Mexer. Now he's Vampiric Kai. It's a quick change. Alright, new material. Now, I wish I could open up my material thing down here on the bottom. Do you know how to get to that menu? Because I got the stupid animation window up here on the bottom of my screen. I want to get back to...
Which one are you trying to get into your materials?
Yeah, I mean, I know I can do it from the side panels, but there's another way you can do it with like the node editor. Oh, it's in shading. That's where it's in.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. All right, let's get rid of this other stuff here because I don't need this. Join area. Join area. Okay. It's better.
There you go.
You have the world light, which gives some light to the scene. Okay. Yeah, we're going to mess around with the lighting in the next tutorial. The last part 6 of the tutorial session we're going to get to right after this, if we have time. But right now I'm just fixing up the street. So I'm going to give this street's going to be a nice gray color. We'll turn the roughness all the way up. Should be good. Now this is a plane, so that's probably not actually what I want, but that's all right. Can you give thickness to a plane? You probably can, right? If I go into edit mode, I can probably extrude it or something.
Yeah.
All right, let's select all faces and extrude. We'll just do that, okay. Go to the side view, make sure these guys aren't getting cut off. Grab it in the Z, bring it down a little bit. Whoa.
The heck?
Grab Z, that's better. All right, let me move my man a little bit too, because he's kind of in a weird place. Grab Z. All right, so my guys are pretty close to the ground. Now I'm going to duplicate this. Go to the side view. And we're going to move it over in the X. And I'm going to scale it up. This will give the curb effect. Whoa. Grab. Oh, we gotta duplicate it. Shift D, grab X, place it there, scale it. Let's scale it in the Z. On a curb. Grab Z.
Give me an idea.
Alright, so that's the curb. Now, I do want to scale that back though in the X. A bit crazy.
Yeah.
Cool. Alright, now we want to add our light post. So let's go to the top view or something maybe. Let's add a cube. Move it over here.
Search. Brick texture. Here.
Edit mode. Scale it down a little bit. Extrude. Boom.
Oh, there we go. Normal.
Click the little icon in the bottom left in the area when you want to change the node editor. Click the little icon on the bottom left corner in the area you want to change the node editor. It's sometimes on the left corner as well. I can just get rid of this actually. We don't need the node editor now. Oh, look, we actually got to do what we wanted here. We're gonna make a light post here real quick. I'm not sure. Oh, I know what we did. Add faces. Add face. What is that? I?
Here, subdivide. And I want to subdivide it by this many. 10 should be fine. Faces. And let's go into layout. Extrude.
Oh, I know what I need to do. I need to grab this up in the Z. Then I need to scale the face. That's what I gotta do. If I scale the face, I can make it smaller. Grab it up. This is like our giant light post right now. That's fine. Grab it again. No. Now I want to extrude from it. Extrude. Make a nice tall light.
Bevel. Geometry. There we go.
All right, there's gonna be my light post. That's gonna be cool.
Here.
All right, so I'm gonna hit up Grant Abbott for a second here. We'll see what he says. He's gonna help us make this light post.
An inefficient way to do it. And I think the way I just explained is probably a bit better. In terms of building up the legs, just have a reference image to think how a cube there and the pavement there. The lampposts are a little bit tougher. If I press full stop on my numpad, I'll zoom into that. And menu for going to your rendered modes, or you can obviously go up here.
Whoa, that's
And I think that's
wild.
possibly an inefficient way to do it. And I think the way I just explained is tougher. Radial menu for going to your rendered modes, or you can obviously go up here. And I'm going to choose render. And you can see that I changed the texture of
Just a
that
bit of a mirror
particular
effect.
face. So I needed a face in there, so I've added that loop cut around there. So I'll very quickly make that. Shift right click here. In object mode, Shift A.
Okay, so I want to change just this material only of this face. So that's going to be interesting. So we go down to materials. New. Call this light. Base color, let's make it like a yellow. Ooh, no, I only want to change the face of it though. Alright, we gotta pay closer attention to his tutorial here. Let's see what he's doing.
I separated them there so I could separate this texture out. If I go to textured mode at the moment, Z will get you this radial menu for going to your rendered modes, or you can obviously go up here. And I'm just going to choose render, and you can see that I changed the texture of that. Tougher. If I press full stop on my numpad, I'll zoom into that, and if I go to edit mode, you can see the shape. I separated them there so I could separate this texture out. If I go to textured mode at the moment, Z will get you this radial menu for going to your rendered modes, or you can obviously go up here. And I'm just going to choose render, and you can see that I changed the texture of that particular face. So I needed a face in there, so I've added that loop cut around there. So I'll very quickly make that. Shift right click here.
Alright, showing us how to make the light
Object
post right
mode,
now.
Shift A, mesh cube.
Fast forward a
Scale
bit,
down
because I already
just
know
a
how to do
touch.
most of it.
There. And pull that out to there. And there's a loop cut in there. So if I show you that, there's a loop cut
We
in
didn't
there,
use
so
a
I
loop
could
cut, but
separate
it's
this
fine.
face. So let's go back to this one. Control R, loop cut, and drag it back this time. Just by left click and then moving your mouse. And left click again to apply that. And there's the lamppost. So now you should have enough information to create the whole scene. In the next episode, we'll be going through the lighting and creating the foggy atmosphere. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Alright,
Today's
sweet.
Sunday, isn't it?
Today is Sunday. It is 3:12 on the eastern coast of the United States of America.
It's currently 21:12.
What could you do
over
with a
in
metal
Germany.
3D printer?
Ooh,
Introducing
coming at you from
the
New
Metal
York.
X, the easiest way for you to go.
pretty warm here though.
Now I have.
You're like, it's not bad.
Hello and welcome to Gabbett Media. I'm Grant Abbott, and today we're looking at finishing off our scene. I'm going to be talking about collections, lighting, adding a bit of fog, and render settings. So you should hopefully be somewhere around here. If I quickly go to look dev mode, your objects should look something like this anyway. So what I'm going to do is go across to the shading workspace, and that puts me into look dev mode up here, and I've got my shader editor down the bottom here. So let's just briefly look at the lamp to start off with in terms of objects. What you'll also want is the material tab down the bottom here. So I'll click on that. And at the moment I have my lamp selected, and that has two shaders on it. So it's got a material, which is the emission. So it's got an emission and a metallic material. So I'll click on the metal first. You can see that that's all the way up to metal. The roughness.
Alright, let's make a material for the metal. We're gonna call this light post. So it looks like he turned the metallic all the way up, and he kind of gave it a gray color. Metallic all the way up. Let's make it lighter.
This is up slightly and the color is gray, and those are the only things that I've changed in the principled BSDF shader. But I've also got this object, which is an emission, which is this face just here. So what I'm going to do is just quickly go through that again. So I'm going to delete this shader here by pressing the minus sign just over here. You can only do that in object mode, it's worth saying, which I'm in at the moment. Now let's go into edit mode with tab on my keyboard and select the faces. So that's 3 on my keyboard or up here, and select that face. Now I'm finding it difficult to see what I've selected because I haven't got my overlays turned on. So there's my overlays on and I can see the face. What might be helpful is if I bring out a new screen. So I'm going to click on the corner here. Can you see where my cursor changes to the crosshairs right in the corner there? Click, left click and drag.
Whoa.
And then I've got a new window, and this window I can change to solid mode just here. You can move across your menus with middle mouse button.
This is crazy.
So I've got overlays turned on here.
I got 2 different views right now. I got a solid view and a render view, like 2 different
and I
windows.
can turn them off over here and see what my render is going to look like.
So we want the render over here.
I'm also going to change this to rendered mode so we can see the final result of our scene. Your lighting and background might look very slightly different to this, so don't worry. We're going to change all that in a moment. I'm going to add the emission to my light up here. So let's add a material, and it's created a new material slot, and to add an actual material to that slot I can click here or here. I'll just click there. I'm going to label this one this time. Emission, and that's a yellow emission. So I have to
Emission
create
yellow.
an emission in here, or down here if I like. Let's go to the bottom of the principled BS.
I gotta open up my other menu now. Split areas? No.
What font do I want for that?
How do I get that bottom menu to open back up where I can edit things from? On the bottom of the screen?
Hold on, let me see you. Oh. What did you do?
What did I do? Yeah, this bottom menu down here, there's a way to open this back up, and I'm not sure how to get to that. Layout. Oh, it's open in layout, but I go to shading. Can't open it. Ah. Not sure how to do that. You can't just
what do we
drag
do?
it and pull it up. That bottom view. Oh, mates. Vampiric said sometimes it's in the corners. I don't know. All menu. I don't know how to get that back open. Guess I don't need it technically. I can just use the side menu, but it's that node menu and shading.
Let's take a look here. Editor type, shader editor, you mean?
Yeah, do you know how to open up that thing on the bottom? The node
I'm checking
mode.
real quick.
Yeah. Snap on, apply. Call menu.
I think it's safe to say you done gone went and screwed up your windowing.
When I screwed up my window, and alright, let's do a Google search. We're gonna search for Blender. Oh. What the heck is my computer doing?
You
Oh,
can't just scroll it up.
no. Blender, how to view node mode and shading. Viewer node. I don't know. Can't scroll up, no. Yeah, you think you could just like drag it or something. Window, let's see. It's something here.
Yeah, you can't scroll it up. That's weird.
Flop object modes. Alright, let's go Blender. Blender shading view. Maybe there'll be something in here how to open up that mode. Material preview. No. Use color object panel. Alright, well, whatever. You know, I don't think I need it. What I'm doing here. Missions yellow.
SDF, and you can see there's an emission option there. I can click on that, push it all the way up to the top, and now we have an emission, but it's not showing, and that's because I haven't assigned.
That's creepy.
Damn it, I need that node menu. Oh, use nodes. You need to split your viewport. Oh, here's the emissions. You need to split your viewport. Sure. Oh, nice.
Yeah, why didn't you? It's a good idea. Right click on the bottom area.
Alright, hold on. Let me minimize this. Right click on it.
All right, vertical split.
Can't right click on the bottom area.
So like, you know where it allows you to like scroll up, scroll down?
Not really, no.
All right, so whenever you get the arrows facing up and down.
Yes, I got that.
All right, split area.
Split area.
So does it allow you to open up a third area below?
It does,
your two
but
scenes?
it
All right.
looks like it wants to split it like vertically. You know what I mean?
That's not right. It's supposed to split it the other way.
Maybe I can grab it from another side. Let's try joining these. If I do it from over here.
Let's see here.
So weird.
Yeah, it's supposed to allow you to have the area options should allow you to vertical or horizontal split.
All right, well, we're going to resort to saving this, closing Blender, and then reopening it. And maybe,
Almost fails.
yeah, maybe that'll fix it. Should do the trick. So it's not there now, but let's go to right click, split area. Yeah, it wants to split it vertically. It's so weird. Strange thing. Oh, here we go. Oh, it didn't
Got
even
the
do it.
horizontal split.
Kind of.
Let's take a look.
I got a horizontal split, but still not what I want.
All right, hold on. Now that you got your horizontal split, right?
Mm-hmm.
Edit mode, where it says in that area, and
Yep.
then switch it over to the node. Oh goodness.
Yep. Yep.
Oh goodness. That's all sorts of goobered.
Well, I don't need it, I don't think. I think I can access everything from the right side menu. I think I should be fine. I'll figure it out later. We'll just try to finish this tutorial. But it was worth a shot. Alright, so let's switch this back to our rendered mode on the left. So I'm changing my emissions on the right. Get back to the tutorial.
My emission to that face. So with that face selected, let's just make sure it's selected in our solid. I'm going to label this one this time. Emission, and that's a yellow emission. So I have to create an emission in here, or down here if I like. Let's go to the bottom of the principled BSDF, and you can see there's an emission option there. I can click on that, push it all the way up to the top, and now we have an emission, but it's not showing. And that's because I haven't assigned my emission to that face. So with that face selected, let's just make sure it's selected in our solid mode area. Yes, it is. We can click assign, and you can see immediately it changes there. I did say I was going to give this a slight yellow color, so I'll change that color there. You'll also notice that it's not giving off any actual emission, so there's no light coming from it. It looks like a light because it's bright, but it's not emitting light. That's because if I change to our render tab just here, we are in, if I go to the top, Eevee. And Eevee render engine, as I've said before, kind of fakes things. So the lighting isn't quite real. If I change this to cycles, you can see that there's light being emitted from this face now because it's an actual emission. There's also from the torch as well, which has an emission on that surface as well. But if I change back to Eevee, you can see that neither of them emit. It's also worth saying, so if I zoom out just a touch, that this isn't the only way to add an emission. And the emission down here, it's difficult to change its value above 1. But if I press Shift A to add shader, emission shader, I get this emission just here.
Oh, I can't do that.
Plug that into the surface. Not much has changed at the moment, but I can change.
Alright, I really need to get that menu back then. I need that menu to do things. Interesting. Well, there's like a default view I can bring back up. Default. Load factory settings. I wonder what that does. Uh-oh. Oops. I don't think I saved anytime recently. Can I undo that? Control Z. Oh boy.
Suggestion. On the top of your screen, you see the plus next to the scripting, compositing, rendering.
Where was that again?
All right, on the top of your screen for your workspaces, there's a one with the plus sign. Click that. Click sculpting, and then click shading.
One with a plus sign.
Yeah, it's right next to the scripting button.
Oh, sculpting. I see sculpting. Oh, scripting. Okay, okay. One with a plus sign. Okay.
I click that. Click sculpting, and then shading.
There it is. Oh, it worked.
That should give you your original workspace back.
There you go. Thank you.
No problem.
Oh, look at that. All right, now we can split this one up here. Don't remember how to do that, but there we go. Okay, split this. All right, so good. Now we can get the render on the left. Now we can get back to the tutorial. Thank you, Trigger.
You're welcome.
No problem.
Don't do that. Uh-oh. Just froze Blender for some reason. Yeah, boy.
Because you have two rendered areas running in full render area. Full render? Full render, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to do the... On the left is going to be the render. On the right is going to be the model mode. Or viewport shading, rather. Alright, so I got to add my emission yellow. There it is. Change this. Boom, to yellow. Boom. Select the face, and then we will assign it. Yeah, it's not letting me mess with that for some reason. I've sent how to GIF on the Discord. Oh, thanks, Vampiric. Yeah, we got it going. Should be good. All right, so let's assign that. Boom. On the render view, we should see it show up, right? No. Oh, assign. All right, let's get back to the tutorial. He'll teach us how to actually make some lighting ray effects here, I think, next.
To the strength just here.
Let's rewind this a bit.
Nothing changed. And the emission down here, it's difficult to change its value above 1. But if I press Shift A to add shader, emission shader, I get this emission just here. And if I plug that into the surface, not much has changed at the moment, but I can change the strength just here. Again, nothing changing in our scene, but if I go across the cycles, you can see the emission is having more of an effect or less of an effect depending on the number here. So if you're in cycles, you can use an emission node. However, in Eevee, because your objects don't actually emit any light, you can just use the principal one. So I'll change back to Eevee and I can delete this emission node. So what I'm going to do, to fake it, I need to actually put a light underneath my lamp. So let's go to object mode, much easier on this side. Object mode with tab and shift right click where I want to put the light, and that places the 3D cursor. But remember, it doesn't always stick to where you want it to. So if I actually click on the object, shift right click, it will be on the object and then I can move it across more easily. So shift A to add, and then light. So we're going to use a spotlight, and you can see it pointing down this way. You can see that arrow there, and there's the cone. I'll just move it across slightly, so G, then X, and move it into the middle. So you can see your axes across the top here, and somewhere around there. And now I want to go to the lighting settings down here, where I can change the settings for that light. So at the moment it's only 10 watts, which is very low. If I change this to something like 1,000,
Ooh, 1,000 watts.
now we can see the effects of the light in our
Oh,
rendered
look at that.
viewport. There's a few other settings which are useful. I'll first talk about the radius.
All right, we're doing Eevee now.
I'll
Let's
turn
switch
that up.
back to
You can
Eevee. Switch back to Eevee.
see that circle moving in the middle here. Now the point behind this is, if I have the radius low and I press G then Z and move it inside my lamppost, I'll bring the radius even lower actually, you can see suddenly it disappears because it's hitting the lamppost and there's no way of it to get out. However, if I increase the radius, then I can have my lamp inside my lamppost, but the radius is where it starts emitting
There
from,
we
and
go.
can you see
That's how we
it's
do it.
starting to shine just there. The other useful options is the size. So if I change the size of the cone to somewhere like there, and you can click and drag on these numbers, or you can click and type in. The blend is the other thing that's nice, and I can just ease the blend so it fades in nicely here. So let's add a light to the front of the torch here. So shift right click on the actual torch. So let's go find the torch, click on the torch, press full stop to zoom in, and there's my cursor just there. So
That's better.
Hold on, Grant. Hold on. Let me get to my torch. Torch, aka flashlight.
shift right click to move that cursor and on an object to make it stick to it. Shift A and we'll add another spotlight, and it's pointing downwards. Now look at the axes. Which axis do we want to rotate round? The x-axis. So R to rotate, X, and we want to go minus 90, so we're going backwards up this way, so minus 90. Type that in and press enter. So RX minus 90, and we've got our spotlight. I'm going to move this one inside the torch so the cone is the right size, somewhere around there, and increase the radius. So look in the viewport over here and see when it's
Alright, let's grab that light source. Where'd it go? Grab. Let's move in the Y. Increase the radius. Get 1,000 watts, maybe.
having an effect, although it's not bright enough at the moment, so we need to change it to something like 1,000 as well, and that's fine. Let's bring up the blend and the size as well. size is somewhere around there, looking at these edges here. And I'm getting a lot of flicker in my viewport for some reason. It might be my screen recording software. So this is good, but we're not seeing the full effects of our light, I feel like, because we've got this grey background. So how can we change the background? Well, at the moment, if I click on objects, you can see the materials changing down here for each object that I click on. But I've also got a world selection as well. So there's object at the moment and world. We'll change to the world and you should see something like this. So you should have a grey background and the strength should be 1. So what I want to do is I can either change the colour of this so it gets much darker, or I can change the strength as well to something like 0.1, and I want to give it a slight blue colour somewhere around there. Now it's very dark at the moment, maybe just a touch brighter somewhere around there, 0.2. I might change this later. So we can hardly see our people at the moment. Maybe I need to change the street lamp brightness. I need to give some emission to the eyes as well. But also what will help me is maybe a moonlight, so a big light that's coming across here or this way, either way, that's going to be our moonlight, because nighttime scenes aren't always completely black. In fact, they rarely are, especially in film. They have some sort of blue light to represent moonlight. So let's go to our solid mode over here. I'll shift right click over here, so that's where our light is going to go, and shift A to add light, and we're going to choose a sunlight this time. So a sunlight which is pointing straight down, so it's going to have sunlight that just streams down in that direction. I'll change the direction by clicking on this yellow dot here, and you can see those shadows having an effect. So let's go across to the material tab with my light selected, and I want to give it a blue colour so it mimics nighttime, and we're starting to get the right look now. And you can rotate this as you like. Maybe it's a bit flat that way. Bit of angle on our shadows would be nice, and maybe a bit lower, long shadows. I can also press R to rotate by the Z axis, R then Z, and I can rotate it around like that, which in many ways is a bit easier. So R to get long shadows.
This looks pretty sweet.
So lastly, the eyes. I'll click on one of the eyes and press full stop on my numpad to zoom into that, and shift right click to get my 3D cursor on the eye, shift A to add light, and this time, rather than the spotlight, we'll use a point light. Point lights are like the spotlight, but they don't have a cone. They emit light in all directions. So I'll just come around here and G to grab and pull it out the front there slightly, and you can see the effect that's having. I obviously want to change the colour of this point light to red to match the eyes, and then it looks like the eyes, if I press full stop on my numpad, are emitting light. Let's copy that across, shift D to duplicate, shift D, and then the X axis, so shift D, then X, and move it across, and now I have two emissions from there. And you can change the wattage as you like. So now we've got all our lights. I think it would be a good idea to group them all together so we can hide them if we need to. And in fact, it'd be a good idea to start organising our scene a bit, because it's looking a bit confusing. So let's click on all our lights.
Click on all my lights, hold on. Dupe. Dupe. Do that. So you're calling from Germany, Trigger? You still there?
Yeah, I'm kind of an unusual case.
You're in Germany right now.
Yeah,
You don't sound like you're German.
that's what's unusual.
Very unusual.
I'm an American living in Europe.
How's Germany this time of year?
Rainy, cold.
Yep.
And press M to move to collection. So M is move to collection. I'm going to create a new collection there and call these lights. And press OK. Now in my outliner, if I bring this down a bit so we can see it, there's my outliner. and I scroll up, you can see my lights.
Nice.
All my lights there are in a lighting collection, and I can minimize this.
To be here, control
I can hide the
0.
lights, and you can see them hidden from the
There we go.
viewport,
There's where my light is.
and therefore they don't have an effect. And then I've got this render tab just here, so that means they won't be rendered. If you don't see that render
Down a little bit.
tab, this little camera, you've got the filters up here. So I've got selection, visible in viewport, and rendered turned on. So you might have to click on that camera. That way I can see what's going to be rendered or not by clicking that, and what's in my viewport or not by clicking that, and you can see the effects down here. So I'm going to do that for each of my objects. I'm going to put the monster into a collection,
It's better.
the man into a collection,
Right,
and
so
the street with the street lamp into a collection.
120.
So the monster, so I'll hide my lights for the moment, click on my monster.
Over.
I just screwed something up in my blender. You know, you got your cursor and all of a sudden, like, you can make the circle bigger on it, like what you're selecting. Do you know how to change that back to make it smaller?
Hold on, one more time.
So my cursor has got a big circle around it now. I don't know what that means, like it's going to select a bunch of stuff at once. I think there's a way
I
to
hope you
scale
didn't
that
go into
cursor.
Sculpting.
Uh-oh. Oh, I'm in... Oh. Shading. No, I'm in shading.
That's weird. Are you using the paint tool on it or something?
Maybe. Yeah, I hit the wrong button. Go back to grab, maybe? No.
Well, if all else fails, Control Z.
Control Z, Control Z.
Nothing.
No, it's some
Alright.
kind of selection mode or something. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, babe. I don't know what I did.
Oh no, why'd I go all the way down?
What are you working on? You working on that same scene that you showed off earlier?
Something new.
Nice. What the heck did I do?
Maybe I should make it a more metallic surface. There we go. Looks a little bit better.
Interesting. Yeah, I hit something wrong here. Well, let's save it. Close it. Reopen it. Oh, still got that stupid circle cursor. Alright, let's try Googling something. Oh. Blender, circle around my cursor. Circle selector gives you a circular cursor to use, selecting vertices, blah blah blah. How do we get rid of it? Pressing C? Ah.
Shading tab for the win.
I screwed up my blender.
Now, one thing I do need to do is change this font so that it's not so extruded.
You ever do text in Blender yet? Have you messed with that at all yet?
Actually, that's what I'm working with right now.
I haven't been able to change the font yet.
Oh, that's easy.
Is it easy?
It's ridiculous. Here, I'll show you in Discord real quick what I'm working with right now.
You got like a screen share or something?
Nah, I'm just gonna do this.
Oh, nice.
So
Trigger for the FTU.
yeah. So in text, you can actually switch over to font and also give it geometry as well. So what you do is whenever you go into text, you're gonna
Shift.
see
So Shift A, I can do text. Boom, there's my
the
text.
screen.
Now I have to go to edit mode, right, to change the text. I gotta go into edit mode.
To change the text,
Yep.
select the text and then hit the tab button.
Yep. So I can say like Steve XM. Now what if I want to
Exactly.
change that font? Can I shift and select it all to change the font?
It automatically changes the font because it's currently an object in the scene. So
Hmm.
go into your layout and have
Layout.
your text.
Alright. Oh, I see it.
Yeah. Oh, don't forget to tab out so that it, hit the tab button so that it finalizes it. It'll automatically switch all the text that you have set for that
Mm-hmm.
as what you want it to be. It'll change the whole font for it, basically.
So how do I change this font? The Steve
Take a
XM?
look at the message that I sent you directly.
Yeah, let's check it
There's
out.
a screenshot.
Oh, it's in there. Okay. Yeah, so I've tried this before. That's under font. So right now it's probably regular font by default.
Yeah.
So I can go into there. What setting is that? Let's see. Let me change the regular font. I like using this Rockwell bold font. My go-to font for all my thumbnails and stuff. Oh yeah, it changed it. Look at that.
Yep.
Okay.
If you want to, you can also give it geometry, so you can extrude it for a couple meters. It'll make it more fatter. Give it a bevel so that it has more. So what I'm looking for, smoothness.
Let me ask you this. Say I wanted to, so we're just talking about 2D text right now, right? Say I wanted to do a border around all the text to kind of give it like 2 different layers, like an outline. Is there a way to do that in Blender?
Oh goodness.
I could probably show you an example real quick what I'm talking about. Here you go. Let me open up what I got. Art, text. My Discord.
All right, I just muted your Discord microphone.
Unmute microphone.
Your microphone has been muted.
Oh, come on. Can you hear me?
I really don't want
Yeah,
to mess with
I can
my
hear you
scene
just
too
fine.
much. Let's see if I can just copy this scene real quick.
Can you still hear me?
Collection. I can still hear you. Can you hear me?
No, yeah, I can hear you.
All right, so that's unselected. Text. There we go. Temper.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, this is basic. I just sent you the link. So you got your basic text, and then I do a little outline on it to give it that black border. There's got to be a way to do it in Blender.
I think there's a font for that.
Like a border font.
Here, text curve. Let's see your text boxes. Whoa, that's not it. That's definitely not it. Nope. Text boxes is not it. No.
Not the right one.
No. Overflow, scale to fit. No. That's definitely not it.
Hey, do you remember the
Line
hotkey to
thickness.
make these groups in the scene collection? How to make a new one?
I just right click and just click new.
To make a new collection?
Yeah, that's what I do. But
Right click. Oh, I see. New collection. Oh, okay. I see. So I can select all my stuff and then I can make it a new collection.
Oh, great. Chrome is bugging out.
Everything gets screwed up.
It's just bugging out from time to time.
All right, well, we got a nice scene going here. Got this looking pretty freaking good. Just gotta turn my emissions up or something. I want to render this image though, at least I think.
Shell shading, you gotta love it.
I do love cell shading, especially with games like Jet Set Radio.
Let's see what I can do here. Secondary text, I can set that to black. Primary text can be white. Oh, we need to add another material. All right, that's easy. Oh, this one will keep. That one will delete. This one will add a new one. That one will delete. New. This one will just turn black. That gives it a shell shading. So, I want it to look a little bit like this.
A little bit like this. Yeah. Yeah, it's got like a little outline to it.
Yeah. What I did for this effect is I changed the fill mode to back on a secondary of the same exact text.
Oh.
And changed it to another material and made that one black, giving it a more of a shell shading kind of look.
So it's just kind of like offset a little bit.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's two different objects. It's just
You could always merge them if you wanted, right?
exactly, or put them both into one thing and turn them into one object.
Nice.
So,
All right, this is where I'm going to wrap up tonight's episode. Yeah, thanks for joining us, Trigger, and helping out with
Anything for you.
some of the technical stuff.
no problem.
Yeah, we got a nice little scene going here.
Principle.
We just got to figure out our lighting a little bit better, guys. But thanks for those that tuned in. Vampiric, Trigger, a couple other people coming at us from Mixer and Twitch and stuff. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll catch you. Thanks for joining the Discord. I'll see you guys around. Feel free to post any of your artwork and stuff like that in the Discord. I want to see what you guys are working on too. But yeah, I'll be doing another one of these episodes again soon. So maybe you can pop in and join us from Germany. Whatever time it is over there. I don't even know. What time is it over there now?
I'll hand this one over to Gary.
It's
Say about 9,
3:52
almost 10
p.m.
o'clock.
10 o'clock. Not too
Yeah,
bad.
Make it easy. 10 o'clock.
Not too bad. Yeah, close enough. All right, cool, man. Yeah, nice meeting you. I'll catch you guys later. Hey, Simon,
What's up?
hit that outro button.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We're wrapping up the show.